Amazing. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm looking forward to screening the movie to an audience tonight for the first time.
Oh, amazing. How do you feel like the audience will re respond to it in a cinema versus a Netflix format?
Well, it's always fun to see a movie in a big crowd, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Does making a film for Netflix change anything in production? For example, like when I booted it up on default, it came on with English dubs.
Yeah.
Um, and people I feel like are more likely to watch it in multiple sittings. Do you have to have that in mind when making the film?
Not really, because we're first and foremost making it as a Norwegian movie, and then hopefully, like the last one, it will travel across the world. And that has just been incredible to see how the first movie traveled. So I'm really excited to now introduce this next chapter to the fans.
And how does the larger scale of Troll 2 challenge what Nordic productions like normally attempt?
Well, I think it definitely has pushed the boundaries of what a Norwegian language movie is, because it's nothing like something we've made before. It's on a whole different level. So I'm really excited to also showcase all the great VFX. That's some of it done in Norway and Denmark, and some in France, and and also of course the Norwegian locations. And I think we found some really good ones in this movie as well.
And what would you say the biggest VFX innovation is for this sequel?
I think well, we had a really great time in the studio when we had our helicopter on a gimbal with a virtual production screen, and so the actors, yeah, really felt that they were in the middle of it, as much as they might get a bit seasick at times, but it really added to the kind of grittiness and reality of the movie.
So you mentioned a lot of the practical sets. Was there any trouble filming in the mountains or in the wind or on skiing?
Yeah, it's always it's cold and the snow is deep, and like the when the actors were running from the trolls, they were like falling through the snow all the time. So that's always a challenge, and of course, yeah, the wind and weather. But it also adds a lot to the movie, I think. So it, I want the movie to feel as real as possible, and I think it's easier to achieve that when you shoot on harsh locations than if you're in some fake styrofoam snow on a green screen stage.
So with Troll 2, we get an end credit release at the end of Troll 1. How early did you envision the possibility of Troll 2 during the first film's production?
I think it was towards the end of editing that I started like thinking about how we could have, if we were given the chance, could kind of expand that universe. And there was a couple of lines, like one of the actors has a line that says, "Someone has always known." And I like that kind of conspiracy theory thing. So that's something we wanted to expand on. And then also the story of how Saint Olaf Christianized Norway and like drove the trolls out. So that was also a big part of the idea, the general initial idea of Troll 2.
Yeah, I think you expand on the lore a lot more in this film. I was wondering how you merged real World War II and other parts of real history with fantasy whilst trying not to trivialize any of it.
Yeah, no, but of course we are in a fairy tale universe, so I think that everything's allowed or and up for grabs. But of course, you have to also pay respect to like when we get to shoot inside the Nidaros Cathedral. The bishop has to read the script to allow filming, but luckily he liked it so enough to let us film. So. But of course, it's a balance of uh, having some of our history, but then also trying to twist it a little bit. Yeah,
And how did the expanded Viking backstory help explain the troll's origin or cultural place in Norway?
yeah, because it was during the Viking Age that Olaf came to power, and Christianity came to Norway, and we wanted, in all our fairy tales, that's a big part of it. Like the trolls can smell the blood of a Christian man, it says in one fairy tale, and they can't stand the sound of church bells. So there's always in our folklore been a kind of battle between those two, between religion, the new religion, and the old world of the trolls. So that's something we wanted to explore more.
In the UK, and we have the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, where he goes, "Fee fi fo fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." How do you think that your story, which is very specifically Norwegian, connected with foreign audiences, and why do you think it was such a big success?
Well, I think all countries have their own kind of fairy tales and folklore, and there are similarities between them. And then I think also setting the genre, the very clear kind of monster genre, that so people know what they're gonna get, but then they get it in an exotic location of Norway and with a new monster that they haven't seen before with the Norwegian trolls. So I think that combination of the known and the unknown kind of make it something that makes people interested.
Is there any other folklore that you want to bring to life, maybe in a different film or different franchise?
Well, we have a lot of creatures in our Norwegian folklore, so I think there's a lot of opportunity there to make a whole cinematic universe of it. Yeah.
Troll aside, did your work on Tomb Raider influence the film at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I think in this movie, it's in addition to all the monster mash mayhem, there's also this part that's more about more like the Raiders of the Lost Ark National Treasure, kind of finding old maps and hints, and then actually trying to raid a tomb at some point. So definitely, it's been inspired by all of those.
And I'm a big fan of some of the Kaiju movies, the old Godzilla films, King Kong. Was that your one of the key influences for you? The poster we've seen is very similar to the Godzilla versus Kong poster of them both going and clashing each other.
Yeah.
Was there any influence from that, or was there any other influences?
I think the movies I grew up with were in like the 80s and the 90s, especially with Armageddon on Independence Day and the American Godzilla movie from that time. It's something that made me want to make these kind of movies. So I think I draw inspiration from all of those. And of course, I also try to keep up with what they're doing in the Kong and Godzilla Monsterverse thing.
And did you collaborate with any folklore experts, maybe a real life Tiedemann, for new mythological details, or did you come up with it on your own?
No, we did on the first one. We talked a lot to those, and I think we had so much from the research from that part that we were able to kind of use that to expand into the second movie.
And were there any other myths or any other references you kept in the film that people might notice in the background?
Well, there, as I'm sure you're aware of, there is a movie called Troll 2 from before. So we've been getting a lot of comments about that, and we put some kind of small Easter eggs for the fans of that in the movie.
And finally, based on your experience with Troll 2, do you see potential for Troll 3?
Well, we'll see. It's starting. Some ideas have started to form in the back of my mind, so we'll see.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey You Guys!